What's up, guys? Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm back again with another video. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at this bad boy right here. So what we have in here, it's an HP Spectre x360. So this is one of the HP notebooks, the ones that comes in with foldable screens and also touch screens. So in previous generation, you would find a 13.3 inch screen. So this one in particular has a 14-inch display. So let's just jump into it, and then we're gonna have our first impression, see the look and feel, and then I'm gonna get it to start it up for you guys to show you how it looks like. So let's jump right into it. Okay, yeah, by the way, this package has already been opened, but nothing has been moved or taken out. So the first thing that you find or you see when you open the box is basically how this laptop is actually packaged or covered. So this is like in a form of a cloth, which basically covers the machine. It's not really an official sleeve. This won't protect much of your laptop in terms of other damages, but it would protect it from things like dents and scratches. So I'm gonna take it out. Oh, before we do that, let me put this aside and then see what else we find in the box. Actually, a box in here that you're supposed to take out, and then you're supposed to find in accessories like charger and so forth. But in this one in particular, there isn't any, because this was a special requirement, and you'll get to see that when we look into the specifications. So there's actually nothing. This doesn't mean that it doesn't come with a charger. It actually does come with a charger, which the charger comes in on a separate package, which is in this box in here. So there's really no need for me to show you, but for the sake of this video, let me show you how the charger looks like. So this is the actual charger. It's actually a Type-C on this side. Those who are using most of Android devices, this can actually charge in your laptop. So I mean your smart device. But in terms of the wattage, this is an over 65 watts, and this is basically a 3-pin plug that you will connect to this all the way to the wall. I'm gonna put this aside since we don't really need it for this video, and then I'm gonna push it back. So let's jump here and look into this guy. So like I said, this is just a protective sleeve, not really much of a durable one. So yeah, here is the machine in its glory. And the interesting and the actually something that you will notice is basically the edges. So there are edges here at the corner. These are the edges at the corner. These are the edges that define the Spectra family from the HP machines. So they are known of having their sharp corners. They look like some weapon of mass destruction. So yeah, so looking at the machine around, it's quite small and portable, and the things that are quite standing out here is the number of ports that it has in terms of what the user can use. So basically, looking at this corner right here, this is a USB Type-C, which is the one that you will use in for charging. Even this one right here, it's actually a Type-C. You can also use it for charging. But however, the preferred port for charging is actually this one right here at the corner. They both support Thunderbolt 3, so you basically can charge from any of the ports. And then the next thing that you see, there's actually this is a light indicator when the laptop is on or charging. And then there's also an audio 3.5 audio jack that you will actually plug in your headphones or your speakers if you need. And also another little port that you find in here, which is in the form of a slot. It's for an SD card. So you'll have a micro SD card that you can actually plug it in here if you want to export or import some photos or videos. And then looking at the left hand side, we're basically finding a full size USB-A, which is a 3.0 that you can actually use to plug in your normal peripherals like your USB mouse and keyboard. And there's actually nothing else, but there's other feature which is hidden right over here on this side. The reason why it's actually open is this is a magnetic side which allows you to attach in your stylus or your pen that you can actually use to write or control on this machine. And then there's basically nothing else in terms of any other port on the side. But just looking at the bottom, you basically find in your speaker grill right here, even another one right over there. And then this is the vent for the air intake, and there's also another vent intake here for the air right over here. So basically this works better when this machine has been folded. So let's jump right and see how it looks like when it's opened. So here is how the machine looks when it's opened, and it has this glossy finish touch screen, which is very, very good in terms of brightness. We'll look into that once we've started the machine. So let's look at the keyboard itself. So this is a tablet size keyboard that most of the tablet comes with, but this is good because it is more spacious and it features a lot of keys that we basically need and require on a normal work laptop. So an interesting feature for you to take note of is the fingerprint sensor, which is sitting right here. So this is the full size fingerprint sensor, and I believe with the size that it has, it basically will give you 0 to none errors in terms of how quick and fast it actually detects and pick up your fingerprint when you are unlocking the laptop, which is actually very good. And another thing that I like is actually the gap and spaces between the keys, which reduces the amount of errors that you would make when you are basically typing on working on this laptop, and it's actually good. So another interesting feature or a key function that we have on this keyboard is actually what we use to block or unblock the webcam. So because looking at the bezels up here, they are so small in such a way that you can't shrink anything in here to basically add another cover or a lid to cover the webcam if you're not using it. So right over here, they actually create inserted a key which you actually use it to block or unblock the camera. So when you're not using the webcam, you can actually press on this button and then it blocks it. Even when you're in the meeting, you can still block it even when in the meeting, such a way that when you turn on Teams, it will actually show blank because this part up here will be covered. So this is a mechanical way of closing the keyboard without having to have like a lid that you use in here. So you won't even have to paste something to cover your webcam, which is a great feature on this machine because you can actually use it in different ways, which we're going to look into when we actually start it up. The screen itself, so it has so small bezels here, and I actually like how portable it is. They try so much to shrink the bezels over here, and right on here on top where they put in the webcam, it's actually enough size for them to fit in a good camera, which is 720p of course, as well as the IR sensors for infrared, which means you're able to use the Windows Halo to actually unlock this laptop. So let's go ahead and start up the laptop to actually see how it looks from the inside. So basically that's how the machine starts up. Most of the HP now, they have this logo that they use instead of the one which was blue and white. Now you actually get this new design. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign in, and so the laptop is now started, and as you can see how it looks, this is a generic background that you actually find in here by default, and of course some applications that are pre-installed that you will actually find them on this machine. So let me give you the internal specification of this machine. So in this one in particular, like I said, that was a special request. This comes in with 1 terabyte in terms of storage. So the storage of this one is a 1 terabyte. It comes in with a 16 gig RAM, and it's a Core i7 from Intel, which is Evo powered. It's actually my first time seeing that there's an Intel Evo powered Core i7 processor. So I believe this is 11th generation, which I will get to see when I look into how it's labeled from the inside. So let me just also verify that for you. So if we check on that, it is of course 11650G7. So this is the latest generation of Intel processor, and this one clocks in at 2.8 gigahertz in terms of the processing power. Like I said, 64 man, what's going on? Like I said, 16 gig memory, and it's running a Windows 10 base operating system, which is the Windows Professional. That we have touched on the external specification as well as the internal specification, let's just look at the different use cases on how you can actually work and use on this machine. Like I said, this is an X360 machine, so that basically means that you're able to fold this machine 360 all the way in such a way that it works in as a tablet. So with that being said, you'll basically have this view, and by default, the moment you fold it this way, it actually disables the keyboard. So even if I try to touch the keyboard this side, it won't do anything here because it is on a tablet mode, which means now the screen becomes more active, and then the keyboard becomes disabled. You can actually rotate it around. It will rotate and then change, and then your taskbar will come in here. You can actually do it a different way. Depending on the orientation that you're holding it, it will basically change looking at how you are holding it. So you actually still have another option to use it as a flat surface, where you open it to 180 degrees in such a way that you can just look at it while you're tapping it like that. So to avoid a little bit of distraction, you can just, you know, put it up, and then if you, depending on where you sit, if you have too much light like myself, there's so much light coming from that direction, so to avoid those reflection, I have to like tilt it up a bit, but however it will still work even when you do it like that. So the interesting part about this, when it's on 180 degrees, you're still able to use in the keyboard, which works in perfectly. And another thing that you can do, you can actually basically do this if you are showing somebody something. Instead of you having to turn your laptop, you can actually turn it up like this, and then they're able to see what you are seeing on your screen. And also even yourself, when we're working on it and you want to work it on tablet mode, but you don't want it to lie flat on the table, you can basically title this way, and then you can use it like this. And then the touch screen is always active regardless. The only thing that becomes disabled is the keyboard when you've actually closed it. So basically that's how you actually use it. So this is something which is great for people who are always on the go. So you can use it in any form and orientation depending on where you are. So you can use it on tablet mode as well as in a full notebook mode, whereby you're able to use in the built-in keyboard, which is actually great. And then in terms of the size, of course, in terms of the weight, this thing is almost like a kilogram, which is not that heavy, which also makes it more friendlier for people who are always on the go. Then you don't have to worry about the weight depending on where you are, which will be very, very interesting. That has been it about this Spectre x360. This is not a normal user or a base model that you can just buy for any normal user who wants to do their word processing, spreadsheet, and email and internet. This is like a powerhouse machine, which is in a form factor, so it would basically cost you around 40 to 45 grand, or even close to 50, depending on your configuration. So that's something that you will need to pay attention to when you are looking for the requirements, if you are actually buying for a user. So this will be for the high-end user, not really developers or programmers, but users who actually work on different applications that require more resources. And those users, of course, they have to be like mobile users and people who are always on the go. So that has been it about this Spectra, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Please drop a like on this video, please share if you can. I will really appreciate that, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye.